Welcome. The Appellate Division First Department is now in session. My colleagues and I welcome you to these virtual admission ceremonies. Ms. Guerrero, you may proceed.
Thank you. May it please the court. Good afternoon. I, Veronica Guerrero, counsel to this court's Committee on Character and Fitness, am honored to present 41 applicants to the court for admission to the bar. Each of these applicants has met all of the requirements necessary for admission to the New York State Bar. Further, I am pleased to report that the committee has examined the records of each and every candidate here today. Accordingly, and on behalf of the committee, I certify that each applicant here this afternoon does possess the requisite character and fitness to merit admission to the bar of the state of New York. Therefore, I do hereby move for their admission.
Thank you. Before I rule on your motion, I want to take the opportunity to thank the members of the Committee on Character and Fitness for the excellent job they've done to assure that the candidates that are presented here today are all well qualified for admission to the New York State Bar. The committee's work is important to all of us, and in fact, to the entire bar of the state of New York. They honor us by serving pro bono, and their work is well appreciated by all the justices of the court. I would ask you to please relate this message to the committee members. Thank you. Now let's turn to the motion that's before the court. Justice Cardozo famously said, "Justice delayed is justice denied," and we will not deny you justice here today because my colleagues have assured me and authorized me to grant Ms. Guerrero's motion forthwith. So the oath of your office will now be administered by Margaret Soa, the Deputy Clerk of our court.
Good afternoon, Justice Gish. Good afternoon, candidates. Candidates, please raise your right hand. I'll recite the oath in the form of a question. At the end, I'll ask you to unmute your microphones and respond by saying, "I do." Do you solemnly swear or affirm to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and to faithfully discharge the duties of the office of attorney and counsel at law according to the best of your ability? Please unmute your mics and respond.
I do.
I do.
Congratulations, attorneys. You may lower your hands and remute your microphones.
I also congratulate you, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to unmute their microphones so we can give you a deserved round of applause for your accomplishment. We have a tradition here at the Appellate Division that one of our members will address you as new attorneys with some welcoming words. And today that privilege falls to me. So it is a privilege to address you on this important and hopeful occasion on your admission to practice law in the state of New York. In almost 3 years worth of time, a time in which you have all professionally come of age, we have held these ceremonies virtually. When we first began to have virtual admission ceremonies, I could not help but remarking on the uniqueness of a virtual ceremony. But now, after the passage of so much time, these virtual ceremonies, they're no longer unique. They reflect more of a change in the way we now do the business of law. Still, I think we need to reflect on what are we to make of these changes in the legal profession. When most of you began law school, you could have expected that your admission to the New York State Bar would take place in our beautiful and historical courtroom, a courtroom which you see a picture of behind the justices of the court. A courtroom which has been open to the public since 1900. A courtroom in which such legal luminaries as Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan were admitted. But now, You see my colleagues and I only virtually, and I wonder if you can feel the majesty of the courtroom during these very important proceedings. So I ask you and myself, is your rite of passage fundamentally different? Because historically we held these ceremonies in person, and now my colleagues and I only see you in boxes on our computers. I believe it is not. Your rite of passage, your admission to the bar of the state of New York in this virtual law world is no less historic, no less consequential, and no less hopeful than if it had occurred in a brick and mortar courthouse, even one as majestic as the First Department. Although these virtual admissions are an outgrowth of a health pandemic, they are really the beginning of a new legal environment in which virtual access to each other and court proceedings are our future. They hold a promise. If we do it right, all people, no matter who they are or where they are, can pursue and obtain justice. They also hold a responsibility, one that falls to each of you. You are to ensure that the principles guiding the rule of law, whether in a virtual world or in person, are upheld. As we continually learn, justice is more than just our physical courthouses. It is the ideals pursued by lawyers like you to ensure and protect the rights of all people. You stand at a doorway, virtual and otherwise, of this and many other ways in which this time-honored profession of law will be evolving in important and positive ways. Your contribution to this evolution will be great. While considering your role in the legal profession and considering what your contributions will be, I urge you to make some time to serve the needs of people who do not have the same access to justice that we share. Pro bono service is also a time-honored tradition among lawyers. As the great jurist Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, if you're going to be a lawyer and just practice your profession, you have skill, very much like a plumber. But if you want to be a true professional, you will do something outside yourself, something that makes life better for those less fortunate. Today, I remind you that although this ceremony represents a great personal accomplishment by each of you, your greatest accomplishments still lay ahead of you. Make the most of the future to accomplish your goals. Great opportunity awaits you all. I congratulate you and I wish you all well. And my remarks are concluded, and at this time, with thanks to my colleagues on the bench, this session of the Appellate Division is now adjourned. Thank you.
The new attorneys will all stay on with me. Then after the justice